We all know the Washington Redskins last year had a terrible season. From the way things were handled by head coach Mike Shanahan to the RG3 injury with the ACL, and eventually the name change controversy that took over the headlines in the second half of the season because people did not want to talk about the on-the-field performance. It was just an overall terrible season for the Redskins. They've also had a terrible history in signing free agents. The most notable free agent that comes to mind is Albert Haynesworth, who I believe signed a 7-year deal with the team in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, that has not panned out. He was released by the team, I believe, after 1 year, after being physically unable to perform drills, and was cut, signed by the Patriots, of course, was cut again. Well, Finally, it seems like the Washington Redskins are trying to make strides going into this 2014 season. I know it's early on, but they have made a big splash already, signing three-time Pro Bowler Desean Jackson to a 3-year, $24 million deal. Desean Jackson, like I said, three-time Pro Bowler, had the career year last year, 16 games, 82 receptions, 126 targets, 1,332 yards, 16.2 yards per reception. His longest reception was 61 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 60 first downs. He had a career year last year with Jeremy Maclin missing after hurting his ACL in, I believe, the preseason. He was out for the entire year. Of course, Riley Cooper had a career year. It was just a great year for the Eagles in general. The whole offense went through both Shady McCoy and Desean Jackson. Of course, then the team, they did have a pretty good offseason, signing Darren Sproles as a kind of a slot receiver, I guess you'd say, running back. You would think everything is fine with the team going into this season. They had high expectations, as did the Washington Redskins. But as of March 28th, 2014, so late last week, Desean Jackson was cut by the Philadelphia Eagles after suspected, originally, I know I did a video about this, gang ties. This is what originally came out to be. Recent reports have said that it was because of Jackson's work ethic and just his overall attitude towards the team. Chip Kelly did not like this, so this is why they cut him. But as yesterday, April 2nd, 2014, in the early hours of the morning, on Tuesday, Desean Jackson again signed a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Washington Redskins, $16 million guaranteed, rather. I really do like this deal. Jackson, who like I said, is in the prime of his career, joins a loaded offensive team. You have Pierre Garçon. You have Andre Roberts now as a second wide receiver. Aldrick Robinson, Nick Williams, a kind of a rookie wide receiver. Logan Paulson and Jordan Reed, the standout tight end, of course. Fred Davis is also there. You have Alfred Morris, Roy Halou on offense. You have Josh Morgan, Santana Moss, and of course RG3 and Kirk Cousins as the quarterbacks. And with their new head coach, Jay Gruden, I think things will come together for the team with a full offseason of RG3 being healthy and kind of getting his body back in shape. Last season, of course, he had the injury, after the playoff run, and the previous year was not himself. Obviously, had a subpar year. I actually had him in fantasy football. Did not pan out. That's how I kept track of that. But he just had a terrible year. Of course, that did not make up for the terrible performance on the field. He's a paid professional. He tried his best. That happened. A lot of people will point to the end of the season. He didn't get to play those 4 games or whatever. The end of the season. Mike Shanahan sat him down. I think it was a good move overall. I think he will be able to come back stronger than ever. They will have a good season now. Hopefully, if everything goes right, obviously they may maybe try to trade Kirk Cousins. They can improve in the draft. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this team now. Pretty excited. Of course, I like what RG3 has said recently, as we have not won anything yet. And that is very, very true. If you look at recent years, and the teams that have the best free agents really sometimes do not pan out. Obviously, the free, it depends on the scheme, depends on the coaching, depends on injuries, depends on a lot of things. So that is something I want to point. But I do like the way RG3 handled that. Did not let his team be crowned the Super Bowl champions, or even for that fact, the NFC East champions. I mean, they do have still a pretty tough division there. You still do have to deal with the Eagles, which I think is going to be interesting. Now they have Darren Sproles, rather. Big, of course, signing Riley Cooper to the extension. You had Nick Foles now. Michael Vick is gone now. He went to the Jets, so I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens. They are kind of lacking in a wide receiver. Besides Jerry Maclin, who will come back, I believe, healthy this season. I believe, hoping he has a career here. He's one of my favorite NFL upcoming players. He's an explosive wide receiver. They just need to kind of get the talent back on the other side for the wide receiver, if you will. I think that's all they have to do. They can use Darren Sproles in a matter of ways. He could be a slot receiver like he was used sometimes in New Orleans, or he could be a running back if Shady McCoy needs a time off. But I think things will pan out for the teams. I mean, obviously the way that things were handled by the Eagles with the gang ties and a lot of other teams kind of wanting Desean Jackson. I think notably the Browns were rumored at one point. Then you have I believe it was also the 49ers. The 49ers actually called the LAPD, where Jackson is from, and tried to figure out there was gang ties. The one thing that interests me about this whole situation, there's been nothing proven by the federal system, by all these agents who work closely with these teams. Nothing proven that Desean Jackson had gang ties necessarily. So that's maybe the Eagles jumping the gun a little bit, but you cannot fault them for wanting to be cautious. I think in the long run for them, it helps them out. I believe with Desean Jackson, who's again the prime of his career, it will help him out, and he can go and kind of, not by choice, but want to restart his career in a way that I think he will be successful. Of course, RG3 is a Michael Vick. He is similar to Michael Vick in a matter of ways. Obviously, very different in a matter of ways as well. Yeah, so it's kind of similar quarterbacks, I guess, if you want to go that way. I don't want to go that way. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. A lot of people, of course, have said that the Eagles have profiled. Maybe it was, why are they telling the truth? We don't know. I think they will come out eventually. But it will be a very, very interesting season for both teams. I think, of course, I do like how, for an entertainment standpoint, and just for a fan of the NFL, I like how Desean Jackson said, "I'm going to stay within the NFC East and sign with the Redskins. Just to stick it to Chip Kelly, I guess, and to stick it with the Redskins. Stick it to the Eagles for making a huge mistake, I think, potentially. But yeah, like I said, they have to do what they have to do. They felt it was necessary, so they did it, and there should be no regrets in that. They can probably go out and get a wide receiver until and grow a wide receiver again. Obviously the draft is a good way to go, but they can get a veteran as well. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. So that's just my thoughts on this whole situation. Again, Desean Jackson, 3-year, $24 million deal with the Redskins, $16 million guaranteed, which I think is a pretty good figure there, well deserved. I think he'll have a good year. We'll see what happens with these teams. I'll keep you guys posted if I hear any more news or want to maybe do another video on this topic. Alright guys, thank you for watching this episode of Sports Buzz. I am Jason. I did not say it before. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to my channel. I try to put out videos whenever I get the chance, especially album reviews. I try to do those weekly, or 2 weeks. I try not to make them try not to make that span any longer than 2 weeks, 3 weeks by max, I believe. So I will hopefully be putting out an album review later this week. Start writing one up, and maybe the end of next week have it written up. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this episode of Sports Buzz. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you like my video content, please subscribe and try to interact with everybody when I get it, when I see fit. All right, guys, thank you for watching this episode of Sports Buzz. Have a nice day. Bye bye.